Aldous Leonard Huxley was an English writer and philosopher. He authored nearly 50 books as well as wide-ranging essays, narratives and poems. Brave New World was set in the future of our own world in the year 2540. Most of the novel's events take place in England or in New Mexico. Huxley begins the novel by explaining the scientific and compartmentalized nature of this society, beginning at the central London Hatchery and Conditioning Centre, where children are created outside the womb and cloned in order to increase the population. Embryos destined for the higher classes get chemicals to perfect them both physically and mentally, whereas those of the lower classes are altered to be imperfect in those respects. These classes in order from highest to lowest are alpha, beta, gamma, delta and epsilon. The alphas are bred to be leaders, and the epsilons are bred to be menial laborers. Bernard Marx, an alpha, is one of the main characters of the story. He and his love interest, Lenina Crown, travel to a savage reservation. They stumble upon a woman and her son, John. Marx presents Linda and John to the director, and John, the son the director never knew he had, calls the director father. This provokes the director's resignation, as procreation between persons is outlawed, and his crime has been exposed. John is kept in the Brave New World, as he calls it, as a sort of experiment. Linda, however, is sent to a hospital because of her addiction to soma, a drug used by citizens to feel calmer. She eventually dies because of it. John becomes angrier and angrier with this society, until eventually he runs away to a lighthouse to live in isolation. He is able to evade tourists and reporters for a while, but eventually they find him and gawk as he engages in self-flagellation. Crowds descend from helicopters to witness the spectacle. Another woman appears, who is implied to be Lenina, and John attempts to whip her too. John is soon overcome with passion, and, after coming under the influence of soma, he falls asleep. The next morning, appalled at his complicity in the system, he hangs himself. Brave New World warns of the dangers of giving the state control over new and powerful technologies. One illustration of this theme is the rigid control of reproduction through technological and medical intervention, including the surgical removal of ovaries, and hypnopedic conditioning. Brave New World is full of characters who do everything they can to avoid facing the truth about their own situations. The almost universal use of the drug soma is probably the most pervasive example of such willful self-delusion. Soma clouds the realities of the present and replaces them with happy hallucinations, and is thus a tool for promoting social stability. He has spent his life alienated from his village on the New Mexico savage reservation, and he finds himself similarly unable to fit into world-state society. His entire worldview is based on his knowledge of Shakespeare's plays, which he can quote with great facility. The major movement in Bernard's character is his rise in popularity after the trip to the reservation and his discovery of John, followed by his disastrous fall. She is attracted to Bernard and she develops a violent passion for John. Her values are those of a conventional world-state citizen. Her primary means of relating to other people is through sex, and she is unable to share Bernard's disaffection or to comprehend John's alternate system of values. Big problems have not had, but the most beautiful adventure they did was go and get John in New Mexico. From this adventure will begin the story of John, who will fall in love with Lenina. Our favorite character is John, because he is similar to us and we mirror ourselves in many of his behaviors. Did you like the book? Why? Why not? We really liked the book because it deals with a particular topic. The author really manages to write a nice story based on a future where citizens are all commanded. What was your favorite part of the book? Our favorite part is when Bernard meets John with his mom Linda. After meeting, the story becomes more beautiful with the participation of John. Would you recommend this book to another person? Why? Why not? What type of person would like this book? Yes, we would recommend the book to another person because in our opinion it is really beautiful. We think it's good for all types of people because it talks about topics that everyone likes and can combine them with a good story.